Hey everybody, Rob here at etrailer.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the best hitch options for your 2017 GMC Acadia. So up top we're going to have our Draw-Tite Class 3 hitch, and then right below that we're going to have our Curt Class 3 hitch. Now right away looking at them you can see that the design of them is going to be a lot different. And that's because each one of these is going to be better at doing different things, so really picking one is going to be determined on what you want to do with your hitch. Personally, I'm not going to be towing a whole lot. I'm going to be using it more for bike racks, cargo carriers, and more recreational purposes, so I personally would go with the Draw-Tite for a few different reasons. But let's take a closer look at both of our hitches and see the strengths and weaknesses of both. Now the major difference in design of our hitches and the way they look really is going to be because they're going to mount up differently, and in the end they're going to be sitting in a different spot on our vehicle. Our Curt here is going to be a little bit easier to install, less involved, but it is going to sit below the bumper. But again, it is going to be much easier to install, not that much to do, and it's not going to require any kind of drilling, but there is going to be some trimming of the heat shields that we have to do. Now with our Draw-Tite, it is going to be a little bit more involved to get it installed, because we're actually going to have to remove the rear fascia, and it's going to get sandwiched in between our bumper beam and the car itself. Now in the end though, it is going to give us a much nicer look because it's actually going to be completely hidden behind that little knockout panel, and we're not going to see it unless we're using it. So here we got our Curt installed. You can see how it's going to look once you have it fully done. And again, that cross tube is below the bumper, but it does sit back quite a bit, so it's not a really big eyesore. The main thing you are going to see is that receiver tube towards the back of the car here. But with our Draw-Tite, this panel right here actually comes down, and the hitch is actually going to be hidden behind here, so when we're not towing, you're not going to see anything. So aside from the aesthetics look, our Draw-Tite is going to give us an advantage since it is going to be behind the bumper. Since it's behind the bumper, it's going to give us better ground clearance over the Curt. And really, if we were to measure from the ground, there's about a 2-inch difference in ground clearance. So if you're not that concerned, it's not a huge deal, but it will make it a little bit easier to get those bike racks, cargo carriers, and other recreational things in there without having fear of bottoming out. Now on the other side of that, our Curt is going to have a higher weight capacity, so it is going to be better for towing. Now our Curt's going to have a 750-pound tongue weight. That's going to be the maximum downward force to the end of the receiver tube, along with a 5,000-pound gross trailer rating. That's how much the hitch can pull, but that does include the trailer and everything we have loaded on it. The Draw-Tite is going to have a 675-pound tongue weight, so just a little bit less than the Curt, but it's also going to have a 4,500-pound gross trailer rating. Again, just slightly less than the Curt. Now both of these are going to be rated for weight distribution systems, and that's going to be a separate component that's on your trailer. The Draw-Tite ratings are going to stay exactly the same at that 675 and 4,500, but our Curt, the tongue weight will stay the same, but our gross trailer rating actually is going to bump up to 6,000 pounds. Now all those numbers in mind, you do want to double check your Acadia's owner's manual, because these are our hitches rating and we don't want to exceed the manufacturer's rating for our car. Now obviously if you're towing a trailer, you do have to hook up your safety chains. And both of our hitches are going to have a plate style safety chain connection point welded on the bottom of the receiver tube and the side of the cross tube here. Now the Draw-Tite are going to have quite large openings, so if you do have those really large safety chain hooks, we'll still have plenty of room to get those hooked on and take them off. But at the same time, if you have some smaller ones, we'll be able to get those on there no problem. And the slight offset from the hitch pin makes it a little bit easier not to worry about that interference between the pin and clip and getting your hooks hooked on. The Curt safety chain connection points are going to be the same style, but they are slightly smaller. Now you may be thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a hook on there, but even with these really big ones, still got plenty of room to hook them on or take them off. And again, even the smaller ones work really well. And those safety chain connection points are just slightly behind that hitch pin, so again, not too much worrying about interfering with that clip, getting caught on the safety chains. Now another nice thing that Draw-Tite has done is they actually added this bracket just to the left or towards the driver's side of the receiver tube. And that's going to be really nice if we do have any kind of trailer wiring that we want to add, because it'll prevent us from having to put another bracket on. We just mount it right to this bracket. Now don't get me wrong, you can completely mount any kind of electrical bracket to the Curt hitch. It's just you will need to pick up a no-drill bracket so it can mount up to the hitch. But as you can see, it can still be done. It's just a little bit easier on that Draw-Tite since they provide you with the bracket on there. Now, since both of our hitches are those Class 3 hitches, both of them are going to use a standard 5/8 pin and clip. We'll be able to put our accessories in and mount everything up. Now, you may notice on the Draw-Tite that it's actually going to have a secondary hole towards the opening on the receiver tube. Now, that's going to be exclusively for the JPin stabilization device. Now, the way this is going to work is we'll have a threaded section that'll go in through the hitch pin hole. And then there's a curved hook type section that'll go into that secondary hole. And whenever we put the hex nut onto the end, it's going to draw that hook into the receiver tube and apply pressure to our accessory. That'll keep it from moving around and cut down on that annoying rattling sound. Now, our JPin is also a locking device, so it's going to make sure all of our accessories are nice and secure and it'll prevent would-be thieves from tampering with them. Now, this is going to be sold separately, but you can find it here at etrailer.com. So to sum everything up, whenever you're choosing a hitch between our Draw-Tite and our Curt, it really is going to depend on what's most important to you and how you're going to be using your hitch. If appearance is the most important thing, you really don't want to change your Acadia and you like the way it looks, I would definitely suggest going with the Draw-Tite because it's going to be hidden behind the bumper for the most part until we get to using it. Now, if the weight capacity is really your most important thing, because you have a lot of heavy stuff you want to move, you have a heavy trailer, I would definitely go with the Curt because it does have that increased weight capacity as well as the ability to use weight distribution systems. Now, if install is your main concern, you really don't want to spend a lot of time, I again would go with the Curt because it is going to be slightly easier to install. We're not going to have to pull the fascia off like we are with the Draw-Tite. But I do feel like in the end, putting that little bit of extra time into the install with the Draw-Tite will give you that really nice look in the end. But with all that being said, again, I'm Rob here at etrailer.com. I hope this information has helped you whenever you're looking at hitches for your GMC Acadia.